Well, hello, VEST scholars. Welcome to the Virginia Earth System Science Scholars Program. This program is one of many offered and run by the Virginia Spacecraft Consortium in partnership with many power players in the aerospace, science, and technology industry here in Virginia and beyond. Particularly NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, does help underwrite this program. And a lot of the work we do through this program or with this program is done with the purpose of exploring some of the things that NASA is doing. In VEST, we're particularly focused on our planet and how the Earth as a system and the subsystems that work together within to make that larger system function can be studied both directly and indirectly through various technologies, including remote sensing from land-based systems, ocean-based systems, but also from space. So you'll learn a lot about satellites and different programs that you may not be as much as aware of as, say, planned missions to Mars or planned missions to the moon. Some of these programs are things that you interact with on a daily basis that you aren't even aware of. Things that measure atmospheric moisture, or things that look at cross sections of hurricanes, things that look at photosynthetic light, all kinds of really interesting stuff. My name is Russell Coors. I am a high school teacher. I also work with the Virginia Earth System Science Scholars Program as the professor of record for the course. So I'll be one of your guides through this program, along with, and working, of course, along with a number of other people, including your master teacher, who will actually be doing all the grading. So my role is mostly through videos. So maybe I'll get to meet you at some point, but especially if you take one of the other courses. All right, so my purpose for this video is to actually just go over some of the nuts and bolts of how this course is actually delivered. So in order to start that process, we're going to first look at some of the navigating the course. And you'll notice if you've not used an LMS or a learning management system before, this could be a little bit confusing. And of course, if you have used one before, like say Google Classroom or something a little more robust, like say Canvas or Blackboard, you'll understand how this works in general. But Moodle, which is the LMS used by the Virginia Spacecraft Consortium to deliver its courses, has its own set of icons and its own sort of system of that makes things work. So these are some of the icons, and what I've done here is outline some of the key ones. These are sort of a survey of the icons that exist within the Moodle system. This over here is just a clipping of a module where you can see how some of these icons play out. So some of these icons, for instance, textbook readings will look like this. Folders that contain other materials, ancillary materials, accessory materials will look like that. Assignments are, of course, always depicted as a piece of paper being handed in, as you can imagine an assignment would be. PDF documents look like that with the Adobe symbol in them. Word documents have the iconic Word icon in them, of course. There are also pages, course pages, that are just web links. Some of these are like this video, for instance, is a course page. This video hangs out on YouTube, and so it can be found there and is actually an external link. The quizzes will look like this. You'll see a little check mark, and then questionnaires will have this double check mark link here. So the course itself will look, some of the modules, a module will look like this. This is an older module, but the types of assignments you'll run into, of course, are going to be technical reports, which are going to be in APA format. You'll have labs, in some cases, more than one lab activity to complete, and then a quiz and likely a questionnaire. The course itself is organized like this. Once you log in, you'll have the main page. You'll also have a sidebar where you can navigate. Mine's a whole lot more complex than yours will be, but you can navigate the VEST course this way just by clicking on the links that are over here. These little triangles will open up. Well, if there's more to open up, we'll open up more stuff here. So if I go down to the pre-course assignments, yep, okay, you'll see a whole lot of things pop up underneath there. So it's like opening a folder and seeing what's inside. If you have messages, they'll show up here, and of course you can of course add your own picture and so forth. Edit your profiles. That's the phrase I was looking for. You can edit your profile here as well and personalize what people see of you a little bit. The course itself, Moodle has changed a little bit from prior years. So if you've participated in one of the earlier courses that offered by Space Grant Consortium, this will look a little different. So what's nice about it, though, this video is here, but the rest, all the modules are here depicted with icons. So if I choose one of these, for instance, I can choose the course information module. It'll just pop up in a window here. And there's some of the basic stuff that you need to get started with the course. APA resources. If you've not used the American Psychological Association's formatting style before, you'll definitely want to spend some time here, particularly at the Purdue OWL Writing Lab, which is online. So there's example papers and example reference styles and so forth that you can check out there. Turnitin is the program that's used for plagiarism checks, and your technical reports will go through that. So just forewarning you, of course, that plagiarism is taken very seriously in this course, and so you want to make sure that what you submit is actually your work. There's a resource here on how to do quad charts, a resource on how to navigate Moodle, which I'm going over right now, and then, of course, the pre-course assignments that you need to complete, including a pretest, a survey, a plagiarism quiz, there's a plagiarism activity, and then a talent form you're required to turn in as a part of the course. A module will look like this. So the module 1 is actually an astronomy module, looking at the Earth's place in the larger solar system, which, of course, is its own system in and of itself. Of course, mine will look a little different than yours because there are some things that I can see that you can't see. But basically, you can see how the icons function. You can see this left side is where I took a clipping to show you before. But you'll see there's a paper due, there's a lab, and there's a quiz in this version of the module. So, these are things to keep note of. The other thing to keep note of is the date. So these questionnaires, these things all have due dates, and it's important to keep good track of that. Speaking of dates, you'll have over here on the right sidebar any announcements. You can search the forums and, of course, upcoming events. You can also look at recent activity. So keep in mind that your master teachers and the course administrator have access to your activity. You can tell they know how long you've been on the course, how much time you've been spending here. If we click over here on Module 1, all right, it'll open that up, and we can go ahead and you'll note that there's a forum for the module where you can go and discuss things. There may or may not be required assignments in the forum, but it's a good place that if you have questions, it's a good place to go and ask questions. So you'll have a link here, a textbook link where it'll take you to some text that you can read over. And of course, the text works like this. You go and you read over it, and there's basically just this one page here for the most part. Now you go to there's also rubrics for each of the modules. Here are 2 rubrics, one for the lab and one for the paper. Now, as you go down through here again, you'll have a welcome video from Dr. William Moore. You'll also have the course overview video, which is by me, of course, but that'll show up there as well. And then a Module 1 video here as an overview of the Earth and the solar system and so forth. You'll have APA guidelines and of course, then you get to the actual assignment, lab, and so forth. So if we go back to the original start page, okay, we'll go back here now. You can actually do all of your navigating right from this. If I click on Module 1, all of these are active links. This is new this year. So you can go and actually check all those out without actually having to click on the left sidebar over here. So if you want to go see the rubrics where I just was, you can go click on that. It'll take you to the same place. If you want to read about the first assignment, you can click there, and it'll take you to the page about that assignment where you can turn it in. Now, a word about turning in assignments. You'll note here that apart from APA guidelines and being aware of turn it in as a plagiarism checker, there is a very particular way of naming your assignment. So be sure you pay close attention to that, because you will lose points if you don't name your assignment correctly. And that's for your benefit and for the benefit of your teacher. Okay, so those are the highlights of Moodle this year. There's more to it, but you're welcome to, of course, you'll be encouraged to navigate around. But let's move on and talk about some of these things again. I already talked about the fact that you'll be using APA format. APA is a writing format some of you, maybe most of you, probably not all of you, are familiar with. In English, you've probably used Chicago or MLA. This is a different format. So basically, how do you cite things in text in a different format? How do you structure your works cited or reference pages in this new format? How do you deal with a running header? How do you deal with naming it? Title pages. How do you write an abstract? How do you use headings and subheadings? This is all APA formatting stuff, and it's different than MLA. So, whereas in MLA you might actually quote chunks of text more often, or you might list the title of a work as a part of the citation. You don't necessarily do that in APA. So there are major differences, and in a variety of places, not just amongst psychologists, but APA is widely used amongst educators, but also in some areas of the sciences, just for for instance, here we're using it. Of course, this is an education situation, but it's also a science course, so we're using it in that context. When you get into professional life and you want to submit, say, a professional paper to a journal or some other publication, everybody has their own format. So this isn't the end of learning how to do formatting. You'll be using a lot of different formats throughout the rest of your life. Again, plagiarism, avoid it at all costs. Do not copy and paste text for any part of your technical reports. Plagiarism will get you knocked out of the course. Readings. Pay attention to the readings. Watch the videos. By all means, watch the videos, but read the text and spend some time on it. The quizzes aren't based off of the readings; they're based off the module work. That's important. But reading the text is very important to understanding what's going on in the module in terms of the content. So it's recommended that you read the textual material first, then watch the introductory videos, and then you can work on your material. All right, so the reference material looks a lot like this. It's basically formatted like a textbook. I have a table of contents that'll open up with all the different chapters. This is a pretty big one. And then you can just navigate as needed. Some of this stuff, a lot of this material you've probably had before in earth science, if you took earth science in 9th grade or even 8th grade. So a lot of it will be familiar. It does go into a bit more depth, however. Now, in order to complete a module, in order to get the first module, you have to complete your pre-test, the pre-course survey, the plagiarism quiz, and then submit the required forms. Once you've completed a task, you'll note there's a little box over on the right-hand side where you'll get a check mark. There's a calendar in Moodle that pops up on the pages with important dates. Right now, I can't show it to you because the dates aren't active, and I'm recording this on a day when the course is not in session. When it is in session, you'll have, of course, a legend for it as well, but certain dates will pop up. It's probably a good idea, definitely a good idea actually, to mark these dates on a personal calendar so that you can keep track of when things are occurring. The module materials are all due in the same sequence, of course. Modules 1, you have to finish module 1 before you get to module 2, and you have a set amount of time to do that. And then, of course, late deductions take over. So completing a module, typically you're going to complete and upload the APA paper, complete and upload labs as applicable, complete the module quiz after you've completed the above work, and then complete the module questionnaire. After you do all of this, you'll be given access to the next module, and then go on from there. But then take the time you need to sit back and get your other work done for your get your main school work done. But do spend some time on this. This is important. This is a great experience and a really special one. For all uploads, make sure you follow the naming guidelines. I already went over that once, but just to reiterate it again, make sure you follow the naming guidelines. And once you're done, you'll get check marks in the little boxes. All right, about grading. Some grades in the course are automatic. Quizzes are one such grade. Your master teachers will grade the rest. The final project is due 30. It was worth 30%. Module assignments are worth 70%. So your final project, which comes towards the end of the course, is a pretty important project. It's your final exam, basically. Late work. There is a limit to when you can turn in late work, but note that if you get to 30 days, you're not getting much credit for that late work. You're going to have anywhere from a 10 to 33% grade deduction, depending on the degree of lateness, so to speak. So communicate with your teacher. We know life happens, stuff happens, everything from really seriously unfortunate things like a death in the family or a major sickness. Maybe you maybe you contract mono or something where you're debilitated for a week or bedridden for a week. These things happen, but you need to communicate with your teacher. That's very, very important that your master teachers are kept in the loop on things. It is possible from time to time to be granted an extension, but only through good communication can that kind of a thing happen. When things are past due, you won't get a stamp like this, but you don't want to be in that situation. Now, once you're done with the online course, you may or may not qualify for the Summer Academy. It is not a guarantee that you'll be going to the Summer Academy at NASA Langley. Not everyone's accepted. There are some basic criteria. You have to complete all your assignments, no zeros, and you should participate in forum and webcasts as much as possible. While these forums, fora, and webcasts may or may not be required, participating in extra activities, which is recorded, you're given credit at least for being there, does show extra initiative and can be a factor in who's chosen for the Summer Academies. But ultimately, there's only so many spaces in the Summer Academy, and there's not enough spaces to take everybody in the course to NASA. So do your best. Avoid zeros and get everything in on time, and everything in, period. Finally, communicate. Again, communicate with your master teacher. Send them questions. Send them emails. When they ask questions, respond. Work hard. Have fun. Learn a lot. And you'll look forward to meeting a bunch of these fine people with whom you're taking this course when you get to go to NASA, when you qualify for NASA Langley for the Summer Academy at that point. So for now, I'm going to sign off. Good luck. Have fun.